Welcome to season 2 of Cover to Cover. I am your host, Jaron Bingham. I hope that you guys, well, first off, you gotta forgive me. It's been, like I was telling Quay, it's been almost a year since we filmed season 1 of Cover to Cover Podcast. And so we are in the latter part of 2025. Life is interesting depending on what perspective you're looking at it from. But all in all, if you are just now joining into the Cover to Cover Podcast, we do book reviews here. We do a variety of short form content, and then of course we sit down with a guest and do long form content. So with all that being said, I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you to subscribe for all book related content. Going to be dropping this episode at the top of March. And so just kind of really giving everybody what they need to know before we jump on in. But in today's episode, we are going to jump into the 2013 self-help book, You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. You Are a Badass is the self-help book for people who desperately want to improve their lives but don't want to get busted doing it. In this refreshingly entertaining how-to guide, best-selling author and world-traveling success coach Jen Sincero serves up 27 bite-sized chapters full of his hilarious, inspiring stories, sage advice, easy exercises, and the occasional swear word, helping you to identify and change the self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors that stop you from getting what you want, to create a life that you totally love and create it now, and to make some damn money already, the kind you've never made before. By the end of You're a Badass, you'll understand why you are, how to love what you can't change, how to change what you don't love, and how to use the force to kick some serious ass. Yes, in today's episode, I am fortunate to speak with a brother who I have known for a decade plus. Oh, man. Who did not send me a bio yet, so I can't really.
You know what? He told me to write a bio, and I'm like, you know me for a decade plus.
Yeah, I knew. The funny thing was that I knew. I was like, this brother ain't gonna see me no decade because he can be like, bro, you already know me for a whole 10 years.
You got
it. Actor, one of the most introspective people I've ever met. God-fearing man, a very humbling man, and a man who I ultimately hope at some point will go his Keith David route. And start doing some voice acting, because as we go throughout this episode, especially if you are a listening audience, you're going to be like, yeah, this brother has a good voice on him. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce guest 1, episode 1, Kenneth Nance Jr. How you doing, my guy?
I am doing pretty good. It is only fitting that I be in episode 1. Jaron was the first person that I met in my first acting class here in Atlanta.
2014 Alliance Theater.
2014 Alliance Theater. So as a throwback. Oh, God. I was looking at that the other day, and I'm like, man, it's been 11 years.
But you know what was crazy was that I remember day 1 of that acting class because it was at the top of January, and it was 4 degrees. That day, because I remember like parking somewhere obscure, some like 15th Street, somewhere near Alliance Theater, and ended up having to walk like a good couple blocks. It was like 4 degrees outside. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have. Tell the people about yourself, man. Like it's again, I said actor. I said overall good man. What you got going on? Paralegal?
Oh man, everything. First of all, let me say. They really know how to treat people on this podcast. Listen, they done look at the space. They done gave me some green tea. It's hot. I don't even like hot drinks, and this is helping me a lot because I've been singing lately, and my throat kind of messed up. So this is very therapeutic. Let's see. I am an actor. I am an artist. I am a paralegal recently, certified paralegal. I am a notary. I am a friend. I am a believer. I am a person who is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's me. I have been fortunate to be a part of some wonderful things. I have been fortunate to learn and grow constantly, even when I don't necessarily like it. and I am someone who is blessed and highly favored.
Hey, it's yeah. You like I said, you're one of the. You just really know how to, I guess, really just be where your feet are. At least that's just kind of where with all the times I've been around, I'm like, this brother's like pretty present. And it's one of those things that, like I said, I'm very fortunate to have you on the episode. Very fortunate to have you as a guest. I feel that your message in general can help a lot of people out there, especially during times where male depression, suicide rates, those things are, ticking on up, especially for people who look like us. Yeah. And so, as we said earlier before the camera started rolling, man, just wanted to, hope God it uses us as a vessel to kind of just put a message out there to really kind of help the people get going, man. And so with that, man, we're just going to jump right into question number one.
Let's get it.
Jen Sincero, you're a badass. How to stop doubting your greatness and start living an awesome life. Why did you choose this book?
This book, there are 2 books I read once every year, and those are, it's about to be 3 because a new book came out called Heart Rehab that I'm really getting into. But this is one of the books that I try to read once per year. This book really changed my life because I have always struggled, when we first met particularly, I struggled highly with confidence and kind of trying to figure out what it is that I'm doing. And I'd be hyper fixated on getting stuff done and accomplishments because I was not present. When this book came across my lap, it was really kind of, it come across my lap like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
And I didn't read it the first 2, and then this 3rd time I was like, oh, okay, so this was meant for me to read. And once I started reading it, I understood why. And then it came back again. So I finished reading it. I chose this book because it taught me how to be still. It aligns with biblical principles, be still and know that I am God. It taught me to be present. It taught me gratitude. It taught me patience with myself in a way that I could receive it, because sometimes that's the most difficult challenge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's fascinating. It's interesting. When you said that this book taught you to be still, I always joke. Quick little tangent, whenever the podcast starts leaning in a certain way, right. I'll always, like, if we're talking finances, I'm like, this isn't a finance podcast.
Sure.
If we're talking about, comic books, I'm like, this isn't a comic book podcast. And then this isn't necessarily a faith-based podcast, especially if you watch some past episodes with me.
Right.
But in general, biblical principles are still one of those things that, I kind of govern my life by. And as you said, back saying, be still. Some of the biggest changes in biblical characters' lives were happening when they kind of isolated themselves.
Sure. Right?
When Jesus kind of went off into the mountains, when Moses went off, even Job, like there was, when these characters were alone by themselves, had time to process what was happening both internally and how those internal things can, kind of help with their mission or their cause or their objective externally.
Sure.
It's a credit to kind of just centering yourself, slowing life down, because once the older you get, man, the more that 24-hour clock just feels like it's
flies.
24 seconds.
Flies.
But yeah, so it's. I was fortunate. I've heard of this book before. Didn't jump into it, of course, until you had recommended it. And yeah, there was just certain things there that, even with myself, I wanted to kind of continue to check, because it's interesting whenever you have a book podcast and you have to review self-help books. A lot of times, that is just a review on yourself. And so one of the things that, and I said this off camera, one of the things that I had kind of been struggling with was anxiety. Just always just thinking about the future and like,
Same,
I need this done, I need to check off these boxes, and it just doesn't stop, and it was one of those things where this book kind of came in, and the thing that I really love about it is it gives you kind of practical steps that you can take and apply to your everyday life, whereas certain books just give you more like theoretical perspectives and just kind of keeping you in your head. Whereas with this book specifically, Jen Sincero, she lays out a number of different steps, methods, and techniques that any individual can apply instantly. And so with that, man, let's just go ahead and jump into question number 2.
I did want to kind of touch on something, anxiety.
Talk to me.
Especially for people like us, people who look like us, people of color, black men specifically. Anxiety is real. Anxiety is a concept that honestly we have dealt with for a long time historically, but we haven't been able to put necessarily a word to it until I think maybe the past decade or so. It's okay to feel it.
Yeah.
It's a common thing. And it's okay to get help for it. I want to make sure that's clear, because you are not less of a man for seeking help for anxiety or figuring out ways to cope with anxiety. Because especially in this day and age, when everything is always 24/7 on the move, it's hard to learn to slow down. It's hard to not let your invasive thoughts take over. And it's okay to need help with that. But as you were saying, my bad.
No, bro, it's I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's, especially with men, like we as men don't allow ourselves the opportunity to process our emotions. We just are kind of like, let's just push through it.
Absolutely.
And it's, the old adage, sweeping things under the rug, things start to pile up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's everything you just said. I want to start getting more intentional with, how I put things into the descriptions. And so, like, with that, I'm going to start putting out different types of outlets, different websites and resources that men can head to if they are feeling depressed or they feeling over anxious or things like that.
I like that.
Just because, again, it's our pride can become so massive to where, like, we block our own self-betterment.
Yeah.
And, I understand it. I get it. I mean, I'm 35 years old. I've been doing that for essentially the majority of my life. So you kind of have to really work against it, because you have society that's constantly pushing how the male is so locked into provision that, he doesn't really get that time to, again, step away, which is, again, back to the biblical characters. Moses was up there leading hundreds of thousands of Israelites. Mm-hmm. There was a time where God was like, let's come up to the mountains, bro. Come up to the mountains, get away from all that. Let's just reassess and recalibrate, and then you go back down there and you'll have the energy. It's almost like a pit stop that you need. So, man, like I said, it's in a faith-based podcast, but it is.
Yeah.
But it is. Let's go ahead and jump into question 2, man.
Okay.
So, question 2, the book is divided into 5 parts. Mm-hmm. Part 1, how you got this way. Right. Part 2, how to embrace your inner badass. Part 3, how to tap into the mother load. Part 4, how to get over your BS already. Part 5, how to kick some ass. Which part encouraged you the most?
I think parts 3 and 4 kind of spoke to me the most, because part 1, like how you got this way, I kind of already knew that. Like, if you have some sense of self-awareness, you pretty much know your story.
Yeah.
Better than anyone else, or how your perceived story is. But things like affirmations and positive self-talk, the how, like I think you mentioned earlier, walking, going through, giving practical steps of how to deal with this. I think that's probably one of the most beneficial things. I forgot what I was saying. No, I think having practical steps on how to do it. So things like drowning yourself in affirmations, changing your negative self-talk, meditation. Meditation was huge for me. That was I'll never forget the first time I meditated. It was an acting class, and shout out to Victor Love. Things like taking time for yourself to be by yourself, to do what fills you up. I think those things, those practical steps, those parts are what spoke to me the most. Not to say the other parts didn't, but definitely all of them spoke to me, but definitely those parts essentially, because it's kind of, like you said, we get caught in kind of theoretical things when a lot of the time, specifically men, we need step by step. How do I do this?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, we don't need like hypotheticals and all that kind of stuff. We need, okay, that's great. What am I doing?
Yeah,
and this gives you things to do that can change your mindset, that can put you more at ease, and helps you with peace.
Yeah. Mine was part 3.
Okay.
How to tap into the mother load. As I was going through the book, I was just notating things, and 2 very good chapters popped up to me in part 3. One was chapter 13, Give and Let Give.
Yep.
And then chapter 14, Gratitude, the gateway drug to awesomeness. And I'm just kind of like looking over my notes. I have back to the Give and Let Give. I have really kind of found myself in this space. I probably say since the top of the year, where God was just kind of like, you're not giving enough. And it wasn't like, of course, like most people, I was sitting there, I'm like, man, I'm doing this. I got 2 jobs. I'm up. We got this podcast going on. I got, different things going on with family. I'm not giving enough. And then the message ultimately was, he wasn't sitting back saying I wasn't giving enough in terms of action. It was more so giving enough in terms of like genuinely submitting myself to the moment and giving a person like a genuine, authentic self. I a year or 2 ago, if you ever would have like were around me for real, I'm physically in front of you. Mm-hmm. Mentally, I'm in 1,000 other places. Yeah. And for me, as I've started to just continue to slow my life down, giving has been, okay, the person who's in front of you right now with their concern or with their thanks, their gratitude, whatever, the person who's in front of you right now, are you authentically giving them everything that you're supposed to give them right now? Because, it's so often family may hit you up and you're just on the phone and it's just background noise to you and things like that. But again, like I've come to find myself, not to even sound pompous, but becoming a little bit more important in certain people's day-to-days. And with that, it would be foolish on me to, with all of the, what am I really trying to say? I feel like a lot of times I sit back and, again, the act of just giving I feel is good enough. Whereas, again, where God is just kind of like, no, like, is your heart giving though? Like, are you genuinely connected to the purpose of giving and the person that you're giving to? Yeah. And so I ended up wanting to read a portion from the book. She kind of goes off in chapter 13 and says, giving is one of our greatest joys. It's also one of the most fearless and powerful gestures there is. When we trust that we live in an abundant universe and allow ourselves to give freely, we raise our frequency, strengthen our faith, and feel awesome, thereby putting ourselves in flow and the position to receive abundant amounts in return. And so, yeah, that was one of those things where there's just certain points in the book that she would say something and I would immediately just grab the pen and start underlining. And that was one of the things because, again, like I really want to become more genuine in my giving. I just don't want to just give just for the sake of, I feel like I'm going to get something in return.
Right. How have you learned, what steps have you taken to give more of yourself?
So, devotion, and it's kind of one of the same, devotion and reading. Sure. And the reason I say those 2 things, and I guess we can kind of throw in fitness as well, but the reason that I say those things is because a lot of times I usually do my devotion in the morning. Right. And I have to catch myself when I'm just going through the motions, where I'm just reading the chapters just to say, oh, I read the chapters up, all right, cool. Where it's like, no, be present. Yeah. No, don't think about what's going on at 12 o'clock today. You have a devotion that you have to do right now. Really sit down, soak up the word, and then doing that, it's the same thing with reading. Like I always sit down with physical copies and like submit myself to the text, because what good is it to read if my mind is in other places? Yeah. And so doing that constantly, practicing on being intentional with what is in front of me has allowed me to carry that same type of attention to whatever I'm doing. And so in general, I often sit back and say that everything I do is giving or service, if you will. And so I am in service to my job. I am in service to my mother. I am in service to my family. I am in service to this podcast. And when you look at it like that, I mean, one of my favorite verses was when Jesus was like, the Son of Man didn't come to be served, but he came to serve. And so for me, that is one of the ways that I have been able to, that's been one of the ways I've been able to be more intentional with giving, is by looking at it like an act of service and being present when it's really happening. Looking somebody in the eyes and not being so, again, this mind will literally venture off into what I got going on in 2026. And it's just kind of like, no, where are you right now? Deal with that right now. Because again, with the 24-hour clock, why am I worried about tomorrow? Why am I worried about the next 48 when I literally, all I have right now is what's in front of me? So that is kind of how I've been able to continue to work on giving genuinely. And yeah, it's a daily practice. It's not something that I'm just like, I figured it out, now I'm good now. It's like, nope, wake up, do it again.
So with how much you've been giving and have learned how to give, how do you make sure that you keep yourself filled?
Man, I thought I was supposed to be asking a good question.
Oh, my bad.
No, you good. Keeping myself filled. So one thing that I definitely do every day is I take a walk around the neighborhood. No electronics.
That's a good idea.
I am of the philosophy that nature is the world's biggest therapy.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, walking around, like really being, I mean, rain, sleet, hell, or snow, cold, it doesn't matter. I love nature so much just because of its simplicity and authenticity, to just walk through the neighborhood and just feel the breeze, see the trees. I mean, we're in fall now, so the leaves are changing colors. Yeah. I'm a big scuba diver, so I love water. Really? Yeah, okay. So I love water. Dope. And I think God in general is a metaphor, or the water, the ocean is a metaphor to me to God. When water is very still, it is the most beautiful, most peaceful, most serene thing you can find. But then you can have tsunamis, you can have hurricanes, and you can see that wrath. So how do I keep myself full? I put myself in nature every day. I put myself in front of God every day. And then I've started to slow myself down by being more intentional with my relationships with my loved ones. So I'll call my mom at least twice a week. And it's not on some like, hey, mom, how you doing? It's like, mom, what's up? Talk to me. I got, an hour to spare. Not an hour to spare, like it's, a throwaway, but it's just kind of like, I'm here. What do you, like, is there anything you need? Let's just talk. How's your week? How's your day going? And then, of course, whatever energy that she has, and mothers are always praying for their kids, she'll like put it back in me. And I'm like, yeah, like I feel very invigorated. Same thing with my sister, my cousins. Fitness also plays a component in it. But the act of slowing my life down by way of putting myself in front of others, seeing what they need, being a sounding board for them, devotion, and literally separating myself from all electronics, at least for a matter of 15 minutes to go be out in nature, is how I kind of constantly keep myself filled up.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I really like that.
Yes.
I'm going to start doing that. That is a good idea. Put down the phones. They will be all right.
They will be out there. I often sit back, I'm like, there's no, like, whatever notification is on my phone 30 minutes from now is going to be on my phone an hour from now. And It's not so drastic to where it's like, hey, this is a life-changing decision. You need to answer it now. There's nothing like that happening on my phone. And if one does, then guess what? I just prepare myself accordingly. But yeah, I think it's that phone is a dangerous thing, bro.
Yes, it is.
That phone is a dangerous thing, and of course, I'll have to look up more studies, but I'm sure it is definitely a reason that we see these rates in depression, anxiety, suicide.
Absolutely. I mean, all the things that we have to see every day, and it seems like so much is focused on the negative things that are happening. You have to put your phone down, and you have to realize we are living in an abundant. It's one of the things that Jen Sincero talks about. We are living in an abundant world.
Yeah.
And I mean that's full of beauty and possibility. And if you get rid of the negative self-fulfilling prophecy that, oh, I'm terrible, or oh, life is terrible, you can really start observing how abundant this world really is.
Yeah.
And you will realize you can do anything because the possibility begins within you. That sounded real deep and metaphysical and everything.
It was.
Yeah,
It was, man.
But no, that was really one of the main reasons I got into this book. Like I was saying earlier, confidence is something I always struggled with. I have a fear of being arrogant, or being perceived as arrogant. And I remember the first time when I read this, it was like, it's okay to admit that you're good at something.
Yeah.
And that just gave me so much relief.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be arrogant because of fear of how people would perceive me. And because if there's one ass that God is going to humble, it's going to be my ass.
Sure, make it two then. That nigga humbled me plenty of times
Man.
throughout the past decade.
Oh, humble pie sucks. I'm like, look, I will humble myself, Lord. I will do it.
It's interesting because, like I said, the part that I enjoyed from the book, the first one was, I think it said grace, or no, the first one was give and let give, and the 14 was gratitude. Gratitude has definitely,
oh man,
it has
changed.
Listen,
yes,
because the same way, like you, it was, I was kind of afraid of being arrogant myself as well, because like I grew up in Mississippi. Everybody should already know that by now. And so like as a black man in Mississippi with black parents who love you, black grandparents who love you, like they're gonna tell you, no, like you are capable of doing all that. And it's not that it gets to your head where you're like this big-headed individual, but there's a balance that goes with it, right?
Yeah.
So again, like that's, for me, when I was saying that earlier, that I'm moving into like this level of importance, it's almost just kind of like, I understand the energy that I bring into the room.
Sure.
I just don't want it to be so overbearing and so pompous to where like a person is just, a person's like, whatever he does, I don't like it. And so that's where kind of gratitude has kind of come into, with me, it's just, gratitude is one of the ways I have definitely slowed my life down.
Elaborate, please.
Because it's, when I tell you, so yeah, I'm going to get ready for this. A lot of people find out a lot about me. I had a health scare this past summer. Did I tell you about it? Oh, I did.
You told me about it at Switch Yards, right?
Did I? The seizure?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, for those who didn't know, this past summer I went to Portugal. We celebrated my mother's 60th birthday. Love you, mother. And long story short, I had a seizure out there. It was the first seizure I've ever had in my life in my 30-plus years of living. And I remember just like waking up from the seizure and kind of like being in a space, going to the hospital and things like that, and really being like, yo, nigga, I am not untouchable. And it was crazy too, because like I had just got done doing the Peachtree Road Race, which is a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. I've been training for half marathon. So I'm like, yo, I am in shape. Like everything is good.
Listen, in case y'all didn't know, this man works out. Like, this man works out more than Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1980s. No, he is healthy. So, yeah.
Which was, like I said, so it was like when I woke up and, my family was like, you just had a seizure, I immediately started crying. Because I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, but I've done everything right. Yeah. And so from that point on, it was, as I was laying in the hospital bed, I was sitting there like, yo, like, it can really just be snatched away from you anytime. It does not matter. And when we came back to the States, I was just, dog, for whatever reason, I was just so grateful for every day. Yeah. And one of the things I always sit back and tell myself whenever I get down or whenever I start to kind of have these bouts with anxiety is, for all intents and purposes, my day is going to end the way that it's always ended. Me going to my room, going to sleep. And I'll tell myself that at 10 o'clock in the morning when I'm stressing out about something later on in the week. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, nigga. You haven't gone back home and gone to sleep yet. Or when it's like late night and I'm just kind of like, I got to get all this work done. I was like, oh, wait. Even if you don't get it done, guess what? You're going to go home and go to sleep. So at the end of the day, your day is going to end with a roof over your head. So be grateful for that. I'm so accustomed to waking up every morning because I've woken up every morning every day of my life. Right. And so waking up, that's another blessing. Being able-bodied, another blessing. Being of sound mind, another blessing. Yeah. Having family, another blessing. Friends, another blessing. Work, another blessing. Even if I'm in between jobs, the ability, I always sit back and say, I told my grandmother this the other week, the fact that I have an opportunity is a blessing to me. Now, what is the opportunity? Who knows? It's one of my favorite quotes. Sir Francis Bacon says, a wise man creates more opportunities than he finds. And so being grateful for the opportunity to create an opportunity is something that humbles me, and it just keeps me going every day, and it keeps me grateful. So I hope that answered your question. You know me, I can kind of...
No, I absolutely. And in a moment of transparency, like I know health scares can really kind of... I used to make fun of Derrick Rose all the time and call him Mr. Glass until I messed up my knee and I realized, oh... Humble, see? Yeah. But I know how health scares can really kind of change you. So I do want to ask, genuinely, are you okay?
I knew this name gonna bring this question up. I'm well, man. Yes, I am doing very well. There are some relationships in my life right now that I am definitely working on. They aren't so toxic that I can't, that it's out of reach. Personally, yes, I feel that I am more aware and closer to God than I have ever been. And I grew up in a Christian household. When I say grew up in a Christian house, everything about the household was Christian. But at this current state of my life, I am at such peace, which is crazy because I don't, I still have things that, like I said, that I'm working on. But I'm at such peace now because I feel that I know that I'm walking in my purpose. And also, it's one of those things that, again, I'm just so grateful for when the eyes open every morning, the alarm clock's waking me up. I'm like, yes. Like, for whatever reason, bro, I'm like, yes. Like, even if I'm going to go do the same mundane things that I've been doing for the past few weeks, I do it with a sense of gratitude because one of my favorite other quotes is how you do everything is how you do anything. And so, yes, I appreciate the question. I'm doing very well. Even with that, my mind is still like, oh, more work to do. But it's again slowing myself down, appreciating where I'm at.
It's called a practice for a reason. It's called self-improvement for a reason. Like, you're always going to be doing it, and you'll only get better at it with time. So, like, I am glad that you're doing better. That is, I can't imagine how scary that must have been. Although you might kind of be like, oh, you know what happened? Because I know you.
I've kind of told the story.
I know you. So, like, I understand how terrifying that must have been. Dealing with your own mortality is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad that you're okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's amazing how God can use anything. He used that to draw you closer to him. And that is a testament to how good he really is.
With that being said, I need y'all to do y'all's annual checkups.
Yes.
Like,
seriously.
Honestly, biannual.
Yes.
Like, go see a doctor twice a year. It's 365 days. I know you can spare 2 of them.
You will be okay.
You can spare another 2 for the dentist. Trust me, trust me.
Yeah.
Yes, man. I appreciate you, man. Let's continue to use this.
Right. Yeah. We got squirrel.
Let's continue to use this book, man, to kind of guide people in the direction that can help better their lives. And so, question number 3. that I ended up asking was, what was your favorite chapter from the book, and describe a key point from it?
Ooh, let me look at the chapters. You know what? I'll do one better because I was listening to the audiobook on the way over here.
That's another thing you guys can do as well. If you aren't a quote-unquote big reader, I always like to tell, especially my brothers, I'm like, look, if you headed into work, you got a nice little 15, 20-minute drive. You don't have to turn on some music that's just going to be saying the same repetitive stuff. Turn on a good audiobook, turn on a good sermon. Just let it, you have to be intentional about what you're putting in your mind. Yes. Because even in the book, as you're looking for your answer, even in the book, she talks about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. I often like to refer to the subconscious mind as like the tread on a tire. So as the tire is moving, it's just picking up things as it goes. And you don't necessarily know what you're picking up. And so with that being the case, be very intentional with what you're putting in your time, in your mind. So again, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero is available on audiobook. I'm positive you can go find it on YouTube. So go ahead, good brother.
It's actually a quote she uses from Albert Einstein. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one. But chapter 17, it's so easy once you figure out it isn't hard. It really is. And she uses the quote, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one, from Albert Einstein. And what I got from that, in essence, was you can create your reality. You have to stop the negative and self-limiting beliefs that you have had in your head for however long it's been. I know for me, I used to struggle with not feeling worthy, and still do, not feeling good enough, not feeling like, oh, I have to do this or otherwise nothing is going to happen for me. And that makes it really hard to enjoy success and makes it really hard to enjoy what you have accomplished. Random story. And I'm doing this a lot. I'm sorry. I'm throwing Jaron all off.
Go crazy, bro. This is your episode.
I bumped into Jaron at a Switch Yards the other day.
Shout out Switch Yards.
Shout out to Switch Yards. I completely randomly bumped into him. I was with my sister. I was studying for my paralegal certificate. And, he was talking about, man, you're doing a lot and you're inspiring a lot of people. And I got so caught up in everything that was not happening for me that kind of brought me back to reality of, yeah, actually, I've done a couple things. I'm pretty grateful for the things that I have done. And he's like, man, you've done this and you've done this. And he's listing all these things. And I'm kind of like, yeah, but I'm not, actively where I want to be. But that conversation in itself kind of reminded me something that this book reminds you of. You have to look at how far you've come as opposed to how far you've got left to go. And I think that's really important to say. I am way further than I was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Ooh, 20 years. Ooh, I'm getting old. But yeah, those were, that was probably one of the biggest quotes.
Okay.
I think one of the things that she mentions in the book was to get rid of your stories.
Go on that one.
Yeah. Get rid of your stories. Everyone has a story about what happened to them or how it changed them or how they can't succeed because of this. And you have to really kind of learn to identify that and speak differently about it. Like I used to believe like I can't act. I don't have time. And then I got the probably worst job I ever got, and I was at a correctional facility. I was working as a correctional officer, and I'd be there 12 to 16 hours a day.
Goodness.
And I'll never forget, multiple days, I would just be like, do you know what I could be doing with this time if I wasn't sitting in here locked up in literal prison?
Yeah.
I could really be out there. Like, God, if you just give me the opportunity, I will use this time and maximize it to the best of my ability. And I took a risk leaving that job because it was the only thing I had. And I jumped. And I ended up getting a job, and then I ended up getting another job, and then I ended up taking classes at Alliance, and then I fell into Actors Breakthrough, and I just kept falling into the right thing. Like, you can't be scared to jump. You really can't. Because if you jump, God will catch you.
Yeah.
She uses the universe, you know. And respect to Jen Sincero. This book changed my life, 2017, never forget it. But, you know, she says in the book, you can call it the universe, God, or whatever you have. I say God because I know who my creator is. But God caught me. And if it's in alignment with his will, he'll catch you. Don't be scared. Don't be a punk. Come on, man.
It's funny that you said that if it's aligned with his will, that's how I close out a lot of my prayers. So I'll sit back and, you know, gratitude and prayers, you know, asking quotation marks for things in prayers, and then I'll finish it. Not my will, but let yours be. And it just gives me a peace because it ties into the component of faith.
Right.
Faith with works, you know. So I'll do all the works. All right, Lord, I've done everything I've needed to do. I'm handing the rest on up to you, and I'm about to legitimately be of peace of mind because I knew I did everything I needed to do. And if it falls through, all right, cool, whatever. Yeah. Then it's just back to the daily planner, figuring out, you know, step number 2.
I am glad that you have figured that out. That is something I definitely struggle with because I'll be like, all right, God, I did all I can. It's up to you. But maybe I can do more.
Nah, man, it's he's giving you everything. So another thing, I did a 5-day fast sometime early in the summer. And I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm just looking for like change. And it wasn't like it was just some like blind fast. Like I definitely shout out to Dr. Miles Monroe. Everybody who's close to me knows how much I reference Dr. Miles Monroe. But I will watch Dr. Miles Monroe videos of him talking about prayer and fasting and how they can both be used to build you up spiritually. And so where was I going with that thought? Let me jump back into it. What did you say earlier? I'm sorry.
What did I
say? I know, right? You're just up here rambling. I think the thing that I was to get. Oh no. So one of the lessons that it was the 3 lessons that I got from that 5-day fast was to one, take my time,
right?
Because that one was the physical lesson. Because when you're hungry, you know, saying like you kind of get a little dizzy, a little headaches, and so if you're moving around too fast, it's like, all right, slow it down.
I love that.
So that was the thing. That was the lesson number 1, and then number 2 was breathe, because again, I'm hungry, so like I'm irritable, very irritable. Especially come like, man, by day 2, like I'm ready to punch a nigga. But again, I'm sitting there like I got 3 more days of this. But it's like breathe. First off, again, take your time. Step number 1. Step number 2, breathe. And then step number 3 was the realization that I have everything that I need. Yes, I am extremely hungry, but I am still very much physically capable of doing anything that I need to do within my 24-hour day.
Come on.
And so when I was able to put all 3 of those, when I was able to take all 3 of those lessons and put them together and start like walking in my day to day, like those are the lessons that just kind of like keep me sane. So like if I'm on 285, I'm like, all right, Jaren, take your time, breathe.
You ain't got a choice at that point.
Yeah. Breathe. I know this nigga just cut you off. Breathe. You're gonna get to where you need to go. But then, like I said, like when I go throughout the days and the anxiety or the depression, that 3rd lesson, which to me is the most important lesson, is like you have everything you need, bro. Like you're good. And again, when everything starts to like get a little bit more chaotic, I think about what I have at the end of the day. That bed. Once this is all said and done, I'm gonna be able to go home, lay down, put my head to sleep.
And I'm gonna yes and that a little bit.
Y'all know about that yes and. Let's go.
One of the things, one of my good friends, Chad, shout out to Chad, he said to me was when you're going through that, one of the things, it's frustrating to hear in the moment, but one of the things to keep in mind and ground you is no matter what, you are loved. You have people that love you and care about you and your well-being. All that other stuff is just stuff. All of it. And like Jaren was saying, you have a place to lay your head. A lot of us do. Like, that's a blessing. You have people that love you and care about your well-being. That is the biggest blessing. You have a God that loves you. That is absolutely the biggest blessing. And a lot of things we take for granted, like Jaren was saying this earlier, but like the fact that you can breathe, you can move, you can walk, you can talk, you can see, smell, taste, think, hear. You have running water and electricity, most of us. Like, These are blessings. And you're so used to, you have a phone. Most of us have a phone. You have the world in the palm of your hand. Are you using it to draw yourself closer to something greater? Or are you just kind of using it to doom scroll?
Well, it's to even piggyback off of that, man. I'm constantly reminded of my blessings every day. So specifically back to the races that I do, I'll go out there and you'll see people one leg. You'll see people in wheelchairs. You'll see paraplegics. You'll see people out there still moving, and it's just kind of like, okay, bro, like they have found a level of peace and a level of steadfastness to keep pushing on. Legitimately, what is my excuse?
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't want to like say that while also diminishing or while also like not acknowledging that, yes, like, is my cup filled at the same time? But it's just that it's that balance. And, I think that I like to look at what other people have going on as well to help remind me of how blessed I am.
Exactly. And your body is a temple. You only get one.
You
only get one.
I don't care what AI is telling you. I don't care what AI is telling you, what promise. I don't care what Elon is saying, dog. You only get one of these joints, bro.
One body. Treat it well. Like, once you start working out, the hardest part is getting started.
Yeah.
But once you start working out, you'll realize, because, you're literally, like, torturing your body. But it's to make it feel better. And once you start and once you get in the swing of it, you'll realize, oh, it's actually pretty lit.
And then you also, like, recognize how capable you are.
Yes, that part.
Like, it's so... Another race that I did. Yeah. We did the PNC 10 miler in
when
Atlanta.
Was that?
Huh?
When was that?
That was October 19th.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the first time I have ever ran 10 miles straight.
Ooh.
And so by 10 miles. And so in Atlanta, Atlanta got a lot of hills. My God, we got a lot of hills. But around the 8.5 mile point, my legs started cramping.
Ooh.
It didn't lock up on me, but it started cramping. And I was just kind of like, dang, bro. Because by like mile 6, I had already kind of told myself, I'm like, I'm about to just push through this whole thing. So by the 8.5 miles, legs started cramping. And so I'm like, all right, I did a number of techniques to kind of like make sure like I don't put too much more stress on it. But literally it was like last legging the race. And I, again, just told myself, breathe. Told myself, take my time. It was just slowed my pace down, and I was just kind of like, just keep going. And if the leg just locks up on you, then it just kind of is what it is. But I was legitimately able to push through the entire race without stopping, and it was just yet another reminder of, one, I had pushed myself past what my body thought it could do, and then secondly, it was just like, no, like you're capable of doing whatever you do when you legitimately hone in and you have faith. Like faith is such a complex yet simple, I don't even know the adjective
concept.
Yes, concept, because it's so hands-on while simultaneously being so hands-off.
Yeah, it's so easy once you realize it's not hard.
Yeah, like once you are like, okay, I can only do what I physically and mentally can do, and let everything else be up to the God, source energy, as she says, the universe, whatever. So yeah, like when I finished the race, I was just kind of like, yo, like in my mind, I kind of already knew that I was gonna finish it though, even though my legs started cramping like near the end. It was still like one of those things where I was like, dog, like I'm just determined to do this. I'm just determined to do this, and even. I'll do another little quick segue before I jump back into the question. Earlier this week, I was sitting back, not panicking, but I was just kind of like a little anxious about this episode. And then I was just like, bro, so I have outer body experiences, or maybe it's just God talking to me. He was like, bro, you've literally shot a whole season of this already, and you're sitting out talking to somebody who you've known for a decade plus. What are you worried about?
What were you worried about?
What was I worried about? I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's at times the perfectionist can kind of start to creep in. At times, it's the, okay, I did these things in season 1. I want to take it up to the next level in season 2. And God's just kind of like, bro, the fact that you are still doing it, you've taken it up a level. Yeah. And so that was kind of like the things that were kind of like bogging me. And then, like I said, maybe it happened on a Monday or a Tuesday. I was just like, wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. First off, I got like 4 or 5 more days before I'm hitting that bed again. So like, I won't really be able to relax all the way up to this point. I've read the book. I've notated, done all I've gotten all my notes that I needed to get. And again, like the conversation, it's not hard to have a conversation with somebody who I've known for a decade plus. Right. And then again, I'm back in Studio Social Club. Still call it fourth.
Which is amazing, by the way. If y'all haven't checked this out already, please follow them on social media. Like, this is actually a lovely space.
And that was, that was the thing that ultimately like soothed me, was the fact I'm like, man, I'm about to be around some good brothers, bro. We about to really just, be sharing good energy, putting it out there. There's no need for me to like panic, but I often think about, of course, going back to biblical characters. At first, Moses was like, God, you got the wrong one. And God was just kind of like, nah, bro, I got the right one, bro. You're going to be in the first few books of the Bible. Like, And so we often all kind of like fall to our own doubts. And we all often get in our own heads because, we're our own self-critic and we're mapping things out and we certain experiences in the past have taught us we have to unlearn certain things, which again, the Bible says you have to renew your mind. So it's just a lot of things that, again, like, that's why, even back to the question you asked back in 30, 45 minutes ago, I am doing well, bro. Yeah. Like, I have been able to slow life down. I've been able to truly put all my faith in God. And it's feels very good.
It actually feels good to hear you say you were nervous about it, because I was nervous about this episode.
Yeah.
I was kind of anxious about it. You and I, we talk, but we haven't really had conversation like that in long time. Yeah. So I was like, I don't really know how this is gonna go. So I think it was kind of this like, what is? And I've watched episodes of the podcast. I've watched. Shout out to Aaron Jones. I know you had Aaron on here. Shout out to Perla. I know you had Perla on here. Shout out to Jade. I saw Jade's episode. So it's kind of like, I read this book once a year, so like it's ingrained in me. But like the questions you were gonna ask, I'm like, man, am I gonna remember everything? And how's the conversation gonna flow? So I kind of had some angst about it. Yeah. But yeah, once I got here, it was like, oh, okay, same as always. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, speaking of questions, man, let's go ahead and
we're gonna keep having squirrel moments.
We good, man. I number 4 is probably like was my favorite question to answer. So guys, throughout the book, she gives you all of these practical steps. And at the very end of each one, she always says, love yourself. And so, my good brother Ken, I ask you, what does loving yourself mean to you? And how do you practice self-love in your daily life?
I'm still figuring that out, right? Like I said, confidence was something I always struggled with and always feeling like I'm not good enough. So the concept of loving yourself, and especially in light of the past couple of years, has been really kind of complicated for me. But things like loving yourself means like, I'm wearing a turtleneck and a vest to the podcast. I'm walking around with a long sleeve brown coat and gloves. Now, granted, it is cold, but it ain't, that cold today. Yeah. But dressing up makes me feel good. And loving myself means not caring what anyone else thinks about what I do, what I wear, how I talk, what I think. I'm honoring me. I'm honoring the vessel that God created me to be. Loving myself means doing something like exercising, going to get a massage, going to the chiropractor, talking to people I want to talk to, not feeling obligated to talk to people I don't want to talk to. Like honoring the truest version of yourself. And loving yourself is a game changer. Because just because you love yourself or try to love yourself, that doesn't necessarily make everything okay. You still have to learn to love the things about yourself that you may not like so much.
Yeah.
I had to learn to be okay with how I talk on camera. I talk out of one side of my mouth. I used to hate it. I think my smile is ghastly. But after a while, you know, this is who I am. And why would I spend time hating what I am? This is me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lit. I'm pretty awesome. And it's okay to think that. It's okay to love the you that you were created to be.
Yeah.
That was kind of convoluted, but yeah.
No, I mean that was perfect, man. It's I think a lot of people tolerate themselves and not love themselves.
Ooh, that's a bar. That's a bar.
Nah, I think it's because, you know, with my answer, of course, I had to go get the biblical definition of love. But I think in general, like I think about a lot of the men who I'm relatively close with, just in my life, and specifically the older men who grew up at different times where expressing emotions was definitely nowhere near anywhere in terms of conversations that they were having amongst themselves or even their own families. And we've kind of seen that kind of be broken bit by bit as the generations have continued to come through. But yeah, I think that there's nothing new under the sun. I still think that people in general would just tolerate themselves a little bit more than they love themselves, which is unfortunate. But like you said, you said a key word, bro. Learning to love. Like, learning is a process. You were in school for a very long time because you were learning. Again, it's one of those things that learning and practice, these are things that you have to do daily. Like, when the Lord's Prayer, he says, give us this day our daily bread. Like, you need this daily. And so, to answer the question that I asked you, of course, the biblical definition of love, we're going to turn our Bibles to 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. He says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. And so I often look at myself and I'm like, am I doing those things?
That is a wonderful benchmark.
Am I being patient? Am I being kind? Bro, you know me. Like, my loved ones know me for real. Like, they just know, like, they know that God's still working for me. They know it's a daily bread. Not being envious, not being boastful, not being arrogant, like we said, or being rude. One of the things that I really like, it does not insist on its own way.
Ooh.
It doesn't sit back and like make it think like you know everything. Like, am I listening when other people are talking, or am I listening to just want to interject and put my points in there? The podcast has definitely kind of helped with me just shutting up and listening. I know my mother will sit back and say the opposite. Hey, you just let the guest talk. I'm like, Mom, come on now. I guess my podcast too. I get to say something. But nah, it's rejoicing at wrongdoing. Like I said, like that. The 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 was just like I enjoy when the Bible tells me what to do a lot of times because, again, my own upbringing, I grew up in the church, and then in my 20s, I wouldn't say I rebelled, but I was definitely like, I need to figure out what I believe and why I believe it. And I really just went on a roller coaster of literally insisting on my own way. And when I was able to kind of hone things in, when I was able to get out of certain relationships that I needed to get out of, or even understand why I was even in those relationships in the first place, it's like, okay, I need to go back to the process of learning to love myself. Love isn't arrogant. So me boasting and being narcissistic, that's not love. I don't love myself. I'm very grateful for the humbling moments that God has given me over the years. Because I would hate to become so much of a larger figure and not truly love myself. And then, with pride comes the fall. And so, yeah, it's my general practices, like I said, fitness, journaling is one of the, I would implore people to journal. If you can journal at least 5 minutes a day, bro. Hell, 50 seconds. If you could just pull out the notepad and be like, today I feel this way.
It really is a game changer.
There is like a neuroscience behind writing things down. Not typing it on the phone, not putting it in the tablet. Like sitting down, it's just you, the pad and the pen, and ultimately God writing through you. Get those emotions and those ideas and thoughts out there.
Now, you mentioned in that definition, the biblical definition, love is patient, love is kind. Why is it difficult to be kind to yourself?
Goodness. Why is it difficult to be kind to myself? I think because I know my capabilities and I am very impatient.
Yeah, that is
like
me.
Simultaneously.
That is me too. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I know I could be doing better, and this should be done yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I will literally beat myself up days on end, and then I'll just be like, oh, wait a minute, bro. Again, is my cup full? Do I need to take another walk?
Yeah.
Put the phone down. Like that's why I feel like it's difficult for me to be kind to myself at times, is because, like I said, I'm just kind of always, like, the mind is just always on the move.
Sure.
And I think that, a lot of what we were saying earlier was that this book helps you slow down. The biblical characters that we were talking about, they had to separate themselves from all of the ebbs and flows of their responsibilities, at least for a given period. Yeah. And so I think with me, that's kind of like the main thing, is just I know that I'm capable of more, and I'm very impatient. And also too, it's why is it difficult to be kind of myself? It's because, quite honestly, I'm 35. I would probably say maybe 31, 32, I just started truly forgiving myself.
Yep.
Like, bro, like, it's a lot of times I would just carry that on, just kind of like, well, this is my cross to bear.
Yep.
And,
God does not get glory from you beating yourself up.
You know what I mean?
I literally just heard that last night. That's why.
So, like, that was for me, like, the thing was just kind of like, yeah, bro, like, I made these mistakes. I have served my time, whatever that time may look like. And I can now rise from this. I'm a better man because of this. So yeah, it's that was kind of like the long-winded answer of why it is relatively difficult, or was relatively difficult, for me to be kind to myself. Yeah, man. So it's one of the notes that I kind of put in here. I said, love is all-encompassing. It's an all-encompassing affection, but it's rooted in understanding. And I think that
what do you mean by that?
I think that the more you understand something, the larger the ability to love it can be. So, again, like, it's that learning to love. I'm continue to put emphasis on the learn component of it. Like, going in every day, okay, well, why did I say this to this person who I love? Or, why did I decide to kind of brush that responsibility to the next day? Like, why am I doing these things? And the more that I continue to ask why, I think that was one of the things she asked me. Well, in fact, look at the page I'm on. Ask yourself why. Asking that why, continuously trying to get to the root of it, will give me a better understanding. And again, it expands my capacity to love, whatever that is, be it myself, be it a person who I'm not gonna be too transparent here, because there's still certain things I'm working on with certain people, but there is a person in my life that I absolutely adore. We're at odds right now, and we've kind of been on odds for a good few months. Sure. The process of me continuously trying to learn why we're at odds, what role do I have in that, it's only gonna help when the time comes for reconciliation. Sure. And so, I don't know where I was going with that. Was that a question you had
did.
asked?
Why is it difficult for you to be kind to yourself? I want to touch on something else, and I know we're over time.
Keep going crazy, bro. We did one episode that was, 2 hours? That was.
you mentioned, shoot, hold on, let me find it, because I just had it. Don't go nowhere.
I'm still right here. When we use the buzzwords, understanding, learning to love.
Yes. I know the answer to this based off of my interactions with you at an earlier phase in our lives. Is it difficult for you to accept compliments?
Flip, yes.
Yes, and that I know, right? Look,
Absolutely.
I know that, right?
Yes.
Because that's actually probably one of my favorite quotes in this book. The next time somebody compliments you or says something, instead of responding with like, "Oh, this ratty thing," try this. Thank you.
Yeah,
Period.
I remember that point, bro.
Yeah. Why is it difficult for you to receive compliments? It's difficult for me too. It feels weird. Why is that?
I mean, because for me, it's okay, man, goodness. So when I kind of like wrap myself up into the mundane of things, the mind can kind of get into autopilot.
Right.
Right. So if I like look at,
God, you and me really are like.
So like at the top of the week, I'll overlook, all right, what do I have going on for the week? And then from there, it's like, okay, I got these things. I just got to, Thursday, make sure I got that. And so I'll do an overlook in the week. And then once that's done, once I close the daily planner for the week, I open it up every day. I just legitimately put my head down and go straight to work. Sure. And I will just keep my head down for the entire week, working, doing all these things. And then every time I come up for, you come up for air, yes, there's been a lot of progress made, but for me, it's like, more work to do. And then there will be people who are like, yo, like you have a whole, again, like somebody told me the other week, like, how are you doing all these things? I'm like, bro, I just keep my head down and working. And it's just kind of like, it's difficult for me to accept compliments because the autopilot component of I should be doing this or I've planned this out already or like this is just kind of like who I am, it makes it, I don't know, I think that just has to be something I have to quote unquote learn to do. It's just how to take the compliment for what it is, be grateful. And I think also too, it's also one of those things that outside of me literally having a big head, I don't want I'm afraid of being arrogant. I'm afraid of like that narcissism like really brewing up. Yeah. Quick little side note. Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor.
Yep. I know exactly where you're going.
He used to have his servants, as he would go out amongst the people, used to have his servants tell him, you're going to die one day. And they would repeat that to him to kind of block off any type of bravado that he would show amongst the people that would keep him humble as he would go out amongst the people. And so that is kind of, I took that when I read a book some time ago pertaining to him. I had taken that and kind of like wanted to implement that self in my life, or implement that in my life. It's just kind of like, not that necessarily you're going to die today, but like, hey, bro, like, be humble, be where your feet are, and be grateful that somebody, if I meet somebody who's sat back and said they heard the podcast, nigga, be grateful. Yeah. Like, thank you for tuning in. Like, in those, it's really just about being more humble.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Cover2Cover Podcast, we're going to play a little game called Let's Make Jaren Uncomfortable. Boy, Jaren, you are gifted. You are talented. You are an incredibly hard worker. You have a hustle unlike anyone I've probably ever met.
I appreciate that.
You are focused. You create stuff like this, bring it to life. You're a powerful creator and manifester. You bring people together. You continue to pour into others as you yourself are being poured into. You are a blessing. You are a gift to several people. You are worth it. You are worthy. You are loved. You are appreciated, and you are respected.
You're a good dude, man. I thank you. I love you as well, bro.
And let's see how uncomfortable that made him. Let's see, did he take the lesson from the book to say, thank you. There it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, that is really dope.
Thank you, man. I received that.
I'm glad.
As they say. I received that. It's
I have always said, it's really funny. One of our old mutual friends named Ty, I was talking to Ty the other day. Shout out to Ty Anderson. Love you, sis. We were talking last week, and she was like, I did a scene with Jaren one day. And I was like, yeah, I actually came across it because we used to have a YouTube page. And I was like, yeah, I directed that scene. And it was talking about where's the money. And she was like, I just felt so bad because, like, I didn't even do anything. And he killed it. And I was like, yeah, he tends to do that. Like, he is amazingly talented. I have always thought Jaren was probably one of the most talented people I've ever met.
Wow.
Always thought that, which is why I always wanted to be in so many scenes with him, because I was trying to get my Kobe Bryant on and trying to watch what he did so I get better. Like, so Jaren really is an amazing, amazing person. And this podcast is proof of that. And I wanted to make sure I gave him his flowers because of it. That's all.
I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
I genuinely do. I think it's important that specifically black men can show that type of transparency amongst each other. I'm specifically talking to black men here. All my white people, I'm sorry. But like specifically talking to black men, dog, I know. I don't have any kids yet, so I can't speak to that testimony just yet, but like, I know you got a lot on your plate, man. Some of y'all are taking care of family. Some of y'all been taking care of family since y'all was young bucks.
Yeah.
Some people got just, a lot on their plate. Some people are just dealing with a lot. My ultimate message to them or to, anybody out there, man, is you are capable. You are much more than your circumstances in real time are telling you.
100%.
There is a component to faith. When faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I'm telling you, if you just keep your head down, cross all your T's, dot all your I's, and legitimately leave the rest to God. And that's the thing too, is like when you crossing those T's and dotting those I's, do it genuine and do it with that type of faith as if it were to glorify God. And then you just leave the rest to Him. It's gonna manifest itself. Talk to the people, Ken.
And rejection is redirection.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't get what you want, that's because you're being directed to something else.
Yeah.
It is not the end.
Yes.
I think a lot of the times people put their faith in something, and if it doesn't turn out the way they want, they give up.
Yeah.
And no, that's not how it goes. All that is just another turn. All that is another, this is not this podcast, but this is a pivot.
Shout out, I need Ryan Clark on the pod.
Come on, Ryan Clark. Come on, cover to cover. But it really, the spirit of rejection is so powerful that even the devil fell to it. Like,
You talking, man. It's one in the ministry.
Shout out to my pastor. Shout out to Pastor Shelley. But it really, if you let the spirit of rejection get on you, it will block you from your destiny.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you keep a focused mind, because you're not being denied, you're being redirected. And I'm saying that to anybody out there, but I'm also saying that to me, because that part that Jaren just mentioned, like giving it to God, that's hard, because God be taking too long. But His timing is perfect.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even though we want to take it back because we want it to happen now, trust the process. Trust that He is the potter and you are the clay. Yeah, okay.
Let's go ahead and get this last question.
Right. Yeah.
Way,
so
man.
Look.
This last question. It's a pretty simple last question, bro. If
Okay.
you could recommend this book to anybody, who would it be?
Everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
I honestly, when I say this book came into my life, I saw it on a bookshelf one day. This is back in 2017. I saw it on a bookshelf one day. I was like, oh, it looks interesting. I don't know why it stood out to me, but I remember seeing it. And we went on a trip to Mexico, my family and I. And I was in the middle of some big life changes, like new agency, left friend group, all that things. And my sister just randomly had a copy of it at her house. Like, oh, hey, let me read this. So I was reading that on the flight, and I was hooked. And of course, at the end of the flight, I gave it back to her. But then a girl I was dating at the time, she didn't even know that I had read it. She was just like, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. She gave me the book, and I'm like, okay, so it's clearly meant for me to read somehow. And then, I picked up right where I left off. I bought the sequel book. I bought the other sequel book. Like, there's a planner to it. Like, it really did change my perception of me, my perception of life, my perception of how to draw things to myself, my perception of gratitude, my perception of how to take compliments, my perception of my own story, my perception of how to forgive. Teaches you how to forgive. I mean, it gives you pointers on how to forgive. How to forgive people who are not sorry.
My goodness.
It is, it's really beneficial, which is why I try to read it once a year. One of the things it says, that Jen Sincero says, is picture the person that offended you as a child. And they're trying to figure out their life as much as you're trying to figure out yours. They're just a little bunny working through their problems. And doing that really because we all got sympathy for the kids. Well, hopefully. Doing that really kind of humanizes the people in a way where, before you go, oh, you wronged me, holding on to that does nothing for you. They're not thinking about it. Forgiveness is a gift for you. You shouldn't give a crap what anyone else thinks. Holding on to it is doing nothing but keeping negative feelings. Stop expecting an apology that you're never going to receive. Let it go. And don't hold on to it because I want them to know they've wronged me and all that. That's not true. You want them to feel what you feel.
Yeah.
And honestly, how does that help you become the best version of yourself? That was probably my favorite chapter in the book, because forgiveness is something I struggled with because I want to get your ass back. I want my lick back. But, God had to humble me with that and, leave it to him. And one of the quotes that she uses in the book is that famous quote, to forgive is to set yourself free. Something like that. Like, to forgive yourself is something and realize you were the prisoner. Something like that. I'll remember the quote one of these days.
I'll put it in the video.
Yeah. There it is. That's going to be like on an undercard somewhere now. But, no. That was kind of a long-winded response, but yes.
No, that was good, man.
What about you?
I recommend this book to anyone who's struggling with confidence or battling insecurities. The thing that we talked about this earlier, the thing I like about this book is the practical steps.
Sure.
Because so often it's people are, go to therapy. Okay, and what next? And so,
you should do.
Which you definitely should do. But the thing that, like I said, this book sits back and says, hey, for people who generally deal with this problem, here are 2 or 3 good methods, and each method has about 4 or 5 good steps on, sure. What you can do today to start making a change. And so, it's a couple of self-help books that I kind of like you said, read once a year. The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. Shout out to Jessica Ross. We did the episode. That's a book that I read, at least once a quarter. Very simple read too. But yeah, this book, Jen Sincero, you are a badass. Like I said, that confidence matter. Confidence is built through repetition. And so, the more that you're repeating these steps of, daily devotion, of prayer, of humility, those things relatively become second nature. And so, really good book to kind of like start off the year with, even though we're going to be dropping this episode at the top of March. Right. It's still one of those things where you can find this book. I mean, if you read this book in the middle of the year, this is just a good book to kind of jump into in general. It's simple, but yet it's still very tangible in terms of what it can provide somebody. But yeah, that is I really like that we opened up the season with this book, with this conversation. Yeah. Final words, man, before we get on out of here, man.
Final words.
What you want to let the people know with inspire the folks, man?
God is good all the time. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not into thine own understanding. Acknowledge him in all ways, and he'll direct your steps. This was a blessing to be on the podcast. Thank you for having me. Yeah. Back to you.
I appreciate you, man, hopping on the pod, bro. Like I said, I feel that conversations like this are very needed for our people, especially during these times. With division just kind of being one of the more prominent things being pushed around today. Dog, you need each other, bro. Like, we went through a whole 2020, everybody was sheltered in place, and then people just really started to, I think when like the social skills really started to become a little bit more diluted because people were just away from each other. But community is very important. Being around good energy, good people consistently is very important. Don't forget to take your 15-minute walk around the neighborhood. Don't forget to journal. Don't forget to talk to God. Don't forget to realize that simultaneously, it's not about you, but it's always about you.
Ooh, that's a bar.
And so with that, man, it's, Cover to Cover Season 2. We about to crank it on up. Plenty of good books for you guys. Brother Ken, again, I appreciate you, man, for coming to sit down with me. I just, like I said, it's been 10 years, bro. 2014. So
2014, so 11, yeah.
Yeah, and so, it's very fortunate that, we bumped into each other the times that we did, bro. You are a very good, upstanding person, very much a role model. If you don't think you are, not, you can squint your face at that all you want to, bro. Again, I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. There are people who are looking at you to see what you do for a sense of inspiration and motivation. And the fact that you can continue to keep pushing despite all that you've gone through helps other people to dig deep within themselves. And so very much you are a Moses of not just your own life, but again, people who you will never come in contact with, believe it or not. And so, so with that being the case, man, continue to lead honestly and genuinely.
I appreciate that, Brother Bingham. And
Brother Bingham.
I appreciate you having me.
Most definitely. Well, guys, this has been Cover to Cover Season 2, Episode 1. You need to get into a book before you do anything else, so stop the doom scrolling. How many hours are you really putting on that phone? But anyway, I love you guys. Another episode of Cover to Cover. Jen Bingham, my boy Ken Nance. Stay in the book, stay out the way.